Tonight, Manitobans come together to remember.
May we forever preserve their memory, and may we never forget them.
How Remembrance Day is being observed here at home and across the country. Also tonight.
I'm Joseph Bernacki. Coming up on CTV News, honoring the past, how the community of Manitoba marks Remembrance Day.
Plus, too close for comfort.
I got up and looked out my back window and the whole area was just in flames.
Safety concerns grow as a homeless camp in one Winnipeg neighborhood goes up in flames. On the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, we pause to remember. Across Manitoba and beyond, countless people are paying tribute to Canadian veterans and active armed forces members. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Manitobans marked Remembrance Day with a moment of silence, stories of the fallen, and reminders freedom doesn't come for free. The largest service was held at RBC Convention Centre. The annual service included the ceremonial laying of wreaths, an honor song, the playing of the last post, and a moment of silence. There was also a reading of the poem In Flanders Fields during the passing of the torch ceremony. Speakers noted today marks 80 years since the end of the Second World War, the victory in Europe over Japan, and the conclusion of the Battle of the Atlantic. It's also the 85th anniversary of the Battle of Britain and 107 years since the end of the First World War.
These milestones serve as a powerful reminder of the extraordinary contributions made by Canadian forces in ending global conflict and restoring peace.
CTV's Daniel Hammerson joins us now live. Danny, I know you spent the morning at a ceremony on Valor Road in the West End. What stood out to you about the ceremony there?
The solemn faces in the crowd, Marilee. This community gathered to listen and learn about the three young men affectionately known as the Pine Street Boys and the millions of other Canadians who have fought to protect our country over the years.
Believed to be the only street in the world to have 3 Victoria Cross winners that lived there.
It's been a century since Pine Street in the city's West End was renamed to Valor Road, and every November 11th, the community gathers here to remember and reflect. Valor Road is an homage to the service and sacrifice of 3 First World War heroes: Sergeant Major Frederick William Hall, Lieutenant Robert Shankland, and Corporal Leo Clark.
I truly really learned what it was and about Leo Clark, I'd say around like age 6. But it's always kind of been a thing I went to. It's always kind of been around.
On Tuesday, people of all ages with poppies pinned to their chest learned how the Pine Street Boys are ingrained in Canadian and Winnipeg history. All 3 lived on the same block of the street, and all 3 received the Victoria Cross, the Commonwealth's highest military honor, for their courageous acts during the Great War.
There's a sense of pride. I live in the neighborhood as well, so it's it has a place in my life, and I drive down Valor Road every day.
The Remembrance Day service here honors the Pine Street Boys and the generations of brave Canadians who have served in uniform.
I think of my comrades that been through a lot, especially the people that served in Afghanistan.
Our role in today's world and what we do and the sacrifices many made before us.
Marilee, the Valor Road ceremony was one of several Remembrance Day events being held across the city. Hundreds of people turned out for the Royal Winnipeg Rifles annual Remembrance Day ceremony at Vimy Ridge Memorial Park. The event dates back more than 40 years and commemorates not only members of the Rifles, but fallen members from all regiments.
Reset, arms.
And the Canadian Navy's role in wartime was marked at HMCS Chippewa, Winnipeg's land-based Naval Reserve made a great contribution during the Second World War. It recruited the third most naval personnel in Canada, despite being the farthest inland unit. Today, HMCS Chippewa is still one of the largest Naval Reserve divisions in Canada.
Thanks for this, Daniel. We'll have much more on how Remembrance Day is being marked at home and abroad later in the newscast. An early morning fire at a homeless encampment has neighbors on edge tonight. A structure in the camp burned to the ground around 5 a.m. The fire was caught on camera by one of the homeowners who backs onto the site. Standing by live tonight with more on exactly what happened is CTV's Jeff Keel. So, Jeff, just how close was this fire to this person's home?
Very close. It was literally right on the other side of the backyard fence, and this is something this homeowner says he's been warning about. Flames and lights from fire trucks can be seen at a homeless encampment at Pacific Avenue and Ellen Street. The video is taken from Alan Chorney's yard that backs onto the camp. The homeowner says he saw this coming.
This is kind of a bit of a tinderbox, and I was really worried that it would go up in flames.
Chorney says not long ago he noticed what appeared to be a makeshift heating system installed in one of the structures, and then around 5 Tuesday morning he was startled from his sleep.
I kind of heard a pop, 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 and then I heard some traffic just honking and honking. So I got up and looked out my back window, and the whole area was just in flames and blazed.
This is the aftermath: charred wood and other remains. Being in such close proximity to the tents, Chorney says he and his neighbors have safety concerns, and they go beyond the risk of fire. His neighbors won't let their kids play outside.
There's needles around, and there's human waste around, and so those are also concerns. Bike chop shops.
He's contacted the city about the camp and feels nothing has been done to address their concerns. Some things are being done. Main Street Project has been tasked to do outreach to encampments by the city, and they were on scene Tuesday, part of the province's Your Way Home strategy to house people. A city ban on encampments near schools, daycares, and playgrounds will begin this month, and a long-term solution for this site is in the works, as council has agreed to sell the lot for $1 to build affordable housing. Now, the good news in all of this, Marilee, is that the Winnipeg Fire Paramedic Service says that there were no injuries from anyone in the encampment in this fire, and the fire did involve damage to personal belongings and some debris. A city spokesperson says the city can respond to our story tomorrow as the civic offices are closed because of Remembrance Day. All right, thanks for this, Jeff. There was an enormous lineup at the Mint today as people waited to be among the first to get their hands on a new commemorative coin. The new coin marks the 25th anniversary of the repatriation of Canada's unknown soldier. It depicts the tomb of the unknown soldier and the silhouettes of 4 centuries, as well as a colored image of a poppy.
And just to see all those people for this coin makes me think that, you know what, maybe Remembrance Day is still really important to a lot of people.
We've been here often, and I cannot believe the lineup here. It's unreal. Well, just the design, the poppy and so on, I think it's very, very appropriate for Remembrance Day.
Now, if you couldn't make it down this afternoon, don't worry. The Mint is holding another coin exchange on November 27th and 28th. Just don't forget to bring some cash with you. Let's bring in Colleen Brady now and get a first look at our Skywatch evening forecast. A bit cool and windy for those taking part in the outdoor Remembrance Day ceremonies today.
It was those winds coming from the northwest that made it feel a little bit chilly. Actual temperatures well above freezing and well above normal. And that will continue throughout the rest of the week. Some pretty impressive mid-November temperatures ahead. And that's a good thing. There's a lot of things happening this week outdoors. The Grey Cup Festival will really get underway with outdoor events downtown on Thursday and Friday. And of course, Sunday, the big game. We'll have a look at the forecast for that day as well. And of course, on Saturday, there is the Santa Claus Parade in the midst of it all. So we'll take you through the temperatures and what you can expect if you're preparing for those events. But let's take a look right now. First, through the Bath Fitter Live Eye. Bath Fitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. In Winnipeg right now, it is clearing. It's 1 degree. Winds out of the west-northwest at 19 kilometers an hour. So they have eased up considerably, but they will strengthen again tonight. The pressure's rising and the humidity right now, Marilee, is 78%.
Thanks, Colleen. You can see ads for all kinds of things on city streets: car companies, real estate, and food. The small Westman community of Minnedosa is advertising something a little different this Remembrance Day. It's past. And as CTV's Joseph Bernacki shows you, dozens of banners showing veterans from the community are now on display.
These people were all from our community, and they gave so that we could have freedom.
As Minnedosa resident Gwen Usick looks up at her father's banner amongst dozens in the town, she's proud to know his military service and others will be on display for years to come.
It's a sense of pride, you know, pride for the community, the service that he gave, and it lives on in all of us.
Usick's father, 4 uncles, and a second cousin are just 6 of 143 veterans displayed via banners spread out in the community of a little more than 2,700 residents. 73 double-sided banners have been raised honoring veterans from Minnedosa and the surrounding area.
Being a small town, of course, the word got around and it just mushroomed after that.
The first 50 banners were hung in 2019 and the project quickly grew. Dennis Pearson reached out to the Legion to honor the 2 generations that came before him.
We didn't go because we wanted to, we went because we had to. The area and the town, the families have a lot of pride in what our parents and grandparents did.
And that's not the only way Minnedosa is honoring the past. Over the last 5 years, the town has draped a poppy blanket onto the cenotaph. Lorna Hislop says it was a dream to make it after inspiration from one in England. In 2020, she reached out to a team of volunteers, including Usick, to help her knit 4,600 crocheted poppies.
I had people as far as Nova Scotia contacting me and saying, we've seen your poppy blanket and we absolutely love it.
It was very near and dear to my heart to be able to see something like that come to life.
A visible sign of the pride this community feels very deeply. Joseph Bernacki, CTV News, Minnedosa.
And those banners may get some extra company. The Minnedosa Legion plans to add the faces of more veterans on banners in the future. Winnipeg police have seized a significant amount of meth and illegal cigarettes as part of a drug trafficking investigation. Officers executed search warrants at 2 homes Sunday, one in the 400 block of Jefferson Avenue, the other in the first 100 block of Teakwood Avenue. That's in Garden City. Between the 2 locations, officers seized more than 1,500 grams of meth, which is more than 3 pounds. 480 grams of cocaine, more than $250,000 illegal cigarettes, and nearly $20,000 in cash was also confiscated. A 37-year-old man faces several drug trafficking charges, and a 45-year-old woman is charged with possession for the purpose of trafficking and possessing the proceeds of crime. The city of Winnipeg is planning to make some extensive modifications to its building security. The city intends to spend just over $261,000 to enhance security at City Hall. A new request for proposals indicates it plans to rip out the existing reception and security desks and gates. In its place, new glass partitions and doors will be built, along with structural modifications to the building. The city says the winning contractor will have to minimize disruption to council and committee meetings, including potentially working evenings and weekends. As toxic drugs continue to claim lives across the country, a group of mums are fighting back. They've launched a new Canada-wide support network. A new national support phone line is now live and taking calls. It's being run by Mums Stop the Harm, a group made up of families who have lived through substance use-related harm and death. Officials with the group say there have been more than 52,000 opioid toxicity deaths in the past 5 years, and an average of 20 deaths per day in 2024 alone. The service is staffed by trained peers who offer a non-judgmental space to talk and can connect callers to local resources. For more information about the service, you can check out mumsstoptheharm.com. A multi-million-dollar renovation project on a city-owned pool is just days away from completion. After being closed for a year and a half, Bonnie Vitale Pool is set to reopen. As part of the $6.7 million project, crews built new universal change rooms, an accessible sauna, and a new multi-purpose room. Visitors can also expect to see upgrades to the lobby and mechanical systems. The reopening date is November 17th. Still to come tonight, reflecting on the fallen.
I feel we owe a debt of gratitude to those servicemen and women.
We take you to the nation's capital and across the Atlantic as countless people pay their respects. Our Remembrance Day coverage continues when we return. Taking a look at the markets now, crude oil is up 91 cents. The Canadian dollar rose slightly. Gold lost $5. The TSX gained 92 points. The Dow Jones added 559 points, while the Nasdaq finished the day 58 points lower. In Ottawa, thousands of people attended Canada's National Remembrance Day ceremony today. They gathered in somber tribute and gratitude to those who so bravely served this country and the cause of freedom. CTV's Abigail Beeman reports.
They came to Ottawa from coast to coast.
We have so many Newfoundlanders and who've passed through the wars.
I feel we owe a debt of gratitude to those servicemen and women who, from the past, the present, and the future.
There's a heaviness, knowing each year fewer and fewer are at the national ceremony like Elmer Friesen, here from Calgary at 103. Second World War veterans now number fewer than 4,000.
I'm so glad that my son thought I should come here to experience this alive. So moving.
If we don't remember, well, the world's enough of a mess. You can see what happens when we don't.
Time marches on. Now we have to remember our newer veterans, ones returning from Afghanistan, Bosnia, and the newer conflicts, and what we're facing today.
My transition's been pretty good. I have good days, bad days. To be here today is something that I've always wanted to do.
A service imbued with meaning. The Silver Cross mother, Nancy Payne, remembers son Randy, killed in Afghanistan. Weather so miserable, the traditional fly past replaced by a single helicopter. But still, they stood.
Do you want to stand up? Yes, I do.
Elmer Friesen determined to lay a poppy on the tomb of the unknown soldier for his late brother.
They sacrificed so many guys and never came home. And here I am sitting here and people are admiring me for, and it was a privilege for me to be in the service.
It has become a tradition to lay a poppy here after the ceremony, a small but impactful gesture, leaving a striking red tribute to all those who served and those who gave their lives for Canada. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
Solemn ceremonies were also held across parts of Europe. In Paris, French President Emmanuel Macron drove down the Champs-Élysées, escorted by Calvarian troops. He then laid flowers under the Arc de Triomphe before greeting military veterans. In the United Kingdom, Princess Kate attended a national memorial ceremony honoring fallen soldiers and paying tribute to those who served in the British military, while Queen Camilla led a Remembrance Day service at Paddington train station, where she laid a wreath of poppies. November 11th is Veterans Day in the United States, marked today with a solemn tribute.
Praise God!
U.S. President Donald Trump laid a wreath at Arlington National Cemetery and thanked the troops and veterans for their service.
Hello, everybody. What? As we approach Veterans Day, I wanted to stop by and just say thank you for your extraordinary service to you, your family.
Former President Barack Obama surprised a flight of 79 veterans and their families as they landed in Washington this weekend. The Honor Flight Network released the video of it today. In Washington, efforts to end the longest ever government shutdown have cleared a major hurdle.
The ayes are 60, the nays are 40. The bill as amended is passed.
The Senate passed legislation late yesterday to reopen the government after a small group of Democrats ratified the deal with Republicans. But the 41-day shutdown could last a few more days as members of the House return to Washington to vote on the legislation. U.S. President Donald Trump has signaled support for the bill. A suspected suicide bomber killed at least 12 people and wounded 27 more outside a courthouse in Pakistan's capital today. Footage shows smoke rising in the aftermath of the deadly attack. The bomber struck near the entrance of an Islamabad courthouse around lunchtime when the area is crowded. The government says extremist groups were involved in the attack. A search and rescue operation is underway after a Turkish military cargo plane crashed in Western Asia. The C-130 plane went down in Georgia shortly after taking off from neighboring Azerbaijan with 20 people on board. Aviation officials say they lost contact with the aircraft after it entered Georgia's airspace and no distress call was issued by the plane. The cause of the crash is under investigation. Tensions are rising between the U.S. and Venezuela as an American aircraft carrier moved into the Caribbean today. Inside Venezuela, these images of armed forces carrying out military drills were broadcast across the country. Venezuela's president says the U.S. is seeking to remove him from power. The Gerald Ford is the world's largest aircraft carrier. The Pentagon says the deployment will disrupt narcotics trafficking. The U.S. has killed more than 70 people in strikes on alleged drug boats in the Caribbean and Pacific. Some relief tonight for a family in Ontario. A London, Ontario couple living in Jamaica had not been heard from since Hurricane Melissa struck. Tonight, their family says they are safe after surviving the storm. CTV's Rita Asmiel has the latest.
It's been 2 weeks since Hurricane Melissa battered Jamaica, leaving behind widespread destruction and uncertainty. Among those caught in the chaos, Canadian couple Richard and Diane Kitching, whose island home took a direct hit.
They were underneath the porch, exposed to the elements in the wind, trying to decide what their next move was going to be, and the phone cut out.
For days, their family back here in London had no idea if they had made it through.
Worried sick, just waiting on pins and needles. I had no idea if they were injured, if, God forbid, that they were even alive. I had no idea.
Relief finally came through social media, confirming the couple had survived. Their son Jason spoke with them for the first time last week.
The whole house is on a slant now because it was blown off its footings. Such powerful winds, but it blew a whole house over. The bedroom still has a roof over it, and they were able to put blocks under their bed to make it level.
And the stove as well.
So they're
running on a generator.
Yeah, they're still living up there, kind of just getting by.
In response to the devastation, the Canadian Red Cross has deployed emergency medical teams to help people like the Kitchings.
We already had pre-positioned emergency stock, so blankets, hygiene parcels, food, etc., throughout the country anticipating this hurricane, and so those were distributed immediately and started to actually provide medical assistance, some psychosocial assistance, referrals to medical centers, transportation, ambulances, those kind of elements. So that is now being scaled up through the Canadian Red Cross medical team.
In the meantime, the Kitchings have launched a GoFundMe to help rebuild their home and their lives. Rita Ismail, CTV News.
Hundreds of thousands of Quebec households woke up this morning without electricity. This after wet winter weather knocked down power lines in the southern part of the province. The mixed bag of freezing rain and snow created hazardous road conditions and forced dozens of school closures. The province's deadline for drivers to install winter tires is December 1st.
I think Ian Fleming gave James Bond The Adventures of Sir William Stevenson.
The Winnipeg inspiration for James Bond, celebrating a Winnipeg businessman who became a spy master. Stay with us.
Well, Thursday and Friday, there will be outdoor events as part of the Grey Cup Festival in downtown Winnipeg and at the University of Winnipeg. And the conditions great. Look at this sunny Thursday, 6 degrees, 10 degrees on Friday. Yeah, mid-November for you folks. It will be a little cloudier in the afternoon, but did I mention it'll be 10 degrees? Now we have the Santa Claus Parade Saturday, a forecast high in the afternoon of 4 degrees, a mix of sun and cloud. Grey Cup Sunday, closer to normal temperatures for this time of year, -2 in the sunshine. Monday, -1 under a mix of sun and cloud.
Have a news tip? When you see news happening, let CTV News Winnipeg know. Text your tips, pictures, and videos to 10400. That's 10400. Message and data rates may apply.
A Manitoba veteran who turned to metalworking to help manage his emotions, and now he's hoping he can help others in a similar situation. Doug Bennett is the founder of Forging Ahead, a veteran-run charity started in 2018. The organization helps veterans and first responders with their mental health through artistic blacksmithing. The 20-year veteran of the Canadian Forces says it helps people release energy and talk more.
You get ideas of teamwork, you get communication, you're also learning to accept making mistakes, because if you don't know something, how many times people will come up and say, hey, how do you do this?
More information, including on how to sign up for classes, can be found online at forgingaheadinc.org. Well, on this Remembrance Day, people are also honoring the contributions of a Winnipeg war veteran, Sir William Stephenson. He was an inventor, a businessman, and many believe the inspiration for 007. In the history book, Stephenson was known as Intrepid, one of the most mysterious and influential figures of the Second World War. Sir William Stephenson played an important role in the Allied victory, advising Allied leaders, breaking codes, and training other spies. Stephenson was also a friend and neighbor of Ian Fleming, the author behind the James Bond novels. The pair both had an affinity for martinis, with Fleming admiring Stephenson's love of gadgets.
Sir William Stephenson didn't look like Roger Moore or Pierce Brosnan or Sean Connery.
Few of us do.
His name was actually Little Bill. He wasn't that big, and he was kind of a bit on the round side. But also in that mix was a gentleman who became a very famous movie star, Cary Grant. And I think Ian Fleming gave James Bond the adventures of Sir William Stephenson, sort of, and gave him the looks of the movie star, Cary Grant. In fact, Cary Grant was asked to be the first James Bond.
Sir William Stephenson was knighted and made a Companion of the Order of Canada for his wartime efforts. Today, the Intrepid Society continues to work to keep the memory of Stephenson alive.
CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
Colleen Brady back now with your complete Skywatch forecast, and temperatures set to improve still this week.
10 degrees on Friday. Can you believe it? Yeah, we're in November, folks. Temperatures soaring well above normal all throughout the rest of the week. We had some pretty soaring winds, didn't we, today out of the northwest? Still, temperatures got up to around 7-8 degrees here in Winnipeg and across much of the south, too. And these winds, they've eased up out at the airport here in Winnipeg for now, but they're expected to redevelop. Pretty strong northwest winds throughout the rest of the night when you factor in those wind gusts across the south and up into parts of northern Manitoba as well. Clearing out here in the south, we have been from west to east throughout the course of the day, now fairly clear in Winnipeg. We did get some sunshine, though, for our Remembrance Day ceremony, so that was nice to see. Out in northwestern Ontario, cloudier there, but there is more potential for precipitation. I'll show you why in just a moment. Here it is. Now, we have a warm front that was lying over eastern Manitoba earlier today. Out in front of it, that's where the precipitation is. Showers, freezing rain, and even some snow in parts of Ontario, but wrapping back into northeastern Manitoba. That on again, off again, light snow. It's not snowing right now in Thompson, but in your city as well. It will be picking up there as well in the central part of northern Manitoba, at least for a few hours. Then it begins to pull off overnight. Further off to the east, we stay pretty clear here in the south, and then those winds will gradually ease up as we get into tomorrow. All throughout the day, lots of sunshine here. I know we moved through tomorrow pretty quickly there, but not much to see for much of Manitoba. Pretty clear, pretty sunny. Clear skies will continue overnight. Then we get into Thursday, even more of Manitoba pushing further into the north. We'll enjoy some sunshine as well, as will northwestern Ontario, east in northwestern Ontario. You follow me there? Good. Okay, -1 is our overnight low tonight, mainly clear. Winds out of the northwest still at 20, gusting to 40 kilometers an hour. Up to 0 for the commute Wednesday morning, mainly sunny. Winds still out of the northwest at 20, but we shouldn't be contending with wind gusts per se, but those winds will stay put at 20 kilometers an hour from the northwest all day long. Sunny with a very mild high for November anyway of 6 degrees. Up into the northeast tonight. Here is a look at all those areas that will be dealing again with that intermittent snowfall throughout the rest of the night tonight. Churchill down through Gillam, Island Lake, Thompson, as I mentioned, cloudy there now, but look for snow to resume, and it will continue in all those areas tomorrow. Temperatures remaining below freezing for Gillam and for Churchill. Thompson, Island Lake getting to freezing, if not just a little bit above. In the northwest tonight, clear tonight for Flin Flon, Ocean, and the Paw. Both areas are all 3 really getting down to down to -2. Norway House Cree Nation up into Lynn Lake, staying below freezing and cloudy tonight. Sunny for Norway House tomorrow, 3 degrees. Cloudy for Lynn Lake, below freezing, -1. And Flin Flon and the Paw coming in between the two under a mix of sun and cloud, getting up above freezing in those communities. Further south tonight across the southwest, -2, -3 degrees all around the region. Brandon down to -3, Dauphin -2. Pretty clear for most areas. Lots of sunshine tomorrow. Highs right around the southwest of 6 and 7 degrees, including Brandon. For Winnipeg in the southeast tonight, now we are clearing out pretty quickly now. We drop below freezing, -1, -2 for most communities. Now Pinawa, if you are seeing any shower activity in your area, it will end early this evening. Your sky will clear as well, down to -1 there. Sunshine or a mix of sun and cloud with very mild highs between 5 and 7 degrees. Winnipeg coming up the middle with a high of 6. And in northwestern Ontario tonight, cloudy, but with the possibility of some of that precipitation I showed you earlier making their way through your communities. Overnight lows around freezing, if not just below, and then a chance of flurries or showers tomorrow with highs of 2 and 3 degrees. Otherwise, you'll see a mix of sun and cloud in Ontario. Our first weather photo takes us near Dauphin. Patricia got that beautiful shot of the sunrise on her way to work. And Lucy took this photo of the gorgeous sunset further north in Norway House. And you can always send us your weather photos. The email address is winnipegweather@ctv.ca.
Thanks, Colleen. Turning now to the football field for one last Winnipeg high school game. The Quad A Gustafson Bowl got underway Monday evening between the Elmwood Giants and West Kildonan Wolverines. Elmwood won 35-6. Now, for those looking to extend the high school football season, the league is hosting its second annual combine on December 7th at the University of Winnipeg. The Winnipeg Jets are back above the 49th parallel tonight as the team looks to snap a 3-game skid.
Yeah, you know what? I think that just looking back at that game the other night, we gave up so many odd man rushes, and it wasn't as Anaheim was doing anything that was crazy or different. We got caught on the wrong side of people. Not just one, not just 2, 3 guys would get caught on the wrong side. Turnovers, puck battles, kind of, not really getting our nose over the puck and doing the things we have to do to create possession time.
The Jets only managed 2 goals across their last 3 games and have dropped to a 9-6 record this season. The team's struggling offense hopes to get a spark from forward Cole Perfetti, who returned to the lineup Sunday for his first game of the season. On the plus side, they're up against the faltering Vancouver Canucks, who are just 4-5-1 over the past 10 games.
I think we're really good at just, learning from our mistakes and then moving on, and it just comes down to execution now. I think, what's happened in the past we can't change, so we're moving forward here, and like I said, you'll see a hard-working team, and we're going to work through it.
Puck drop in Vancouver tonight goes at 9 o'clock.
The Hockey Report, brought to you by Santa Lucia Pizza. Check out the game day special.
It's not just concussions, it's the cumulative non-concussive impacts over time.
The lasting trauma of war, how researchers are working to better support our troops after the battles are over.
Tonight, a blockbuster twist in a W5 investigation that exposed a global network of sexual predators.
Ain't no pill gonna cure this ill. Behind bars is gonna stop it.
A man we nicknamed Henri uploaded videos of his wife.
He deserves to get caught. He needs to be caught.
We reveal how W5's evidence has put a man behind bars in Geneva, Switzerland. Tonight on CTV National News and ctvnews.ca.
Get Winnipeg's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
For many Canadians, Remembrance Day is a time to think back to the First and Second World Wars, ancestors who fought in Western Europe. But there are many Canadian veterans who served in Afghanistan who are very much alive but struggling post-service time. CTV's Derek Haggett met with one of those veterans.
15 years in the Canadian Armed Forces, 11 surgeries, deployed to Afghanistan, Africa, and Iraq. Retired Master Corporal Gordon Hurley saw it all during his time in Canada's Special Forces.
We punched way above our weight class. We did the same thing when we were in Iraq, and that's something that's not really spoken about, but the amount of work that was put in to help free the people from ISIS was quite astonishing.
Hurley has experienced post-traumatic stress disorder, drug use, and attempted suicide.
Yeah, in 2015, I believe it was, on a military course, actually, and I was able to hide it and just hid it because I said I was a special forces guy.
When the fighting is over, Hurley says the aftermath of combat doesn't catch up right away.
Slowly you start to see the cracks, and then all of a sudden you'll see the big disaster, which unfortunately usually presents a suicide or a suicide attempt.
He went to Ottawa last month to advocate for alternative medical treatments, specifically psychedelic drug-assisted therapy to help veterans with PTSD. The former soldier has also co-produced a documentary series. The goal is to convince Ottawa to fund therapies using psychedelic drugs such as ketamine. Right now, possession or production of ketamine is illegal unless authorized for medical purposes.
If we can help someone who's hurting or doesn't feel whole or needs to have some acceptance because they're near death or they're dealing with cancer or something very severe, that they should be offered something, that makes sense.
Another Afghan vet from Moncton traveled to Ottawa to show his support. Both men believe more therapy and assistance is needed for veterans.
We're all struggling in a way or another. It may present differently, and some people are a lot better at hiding it than others, right? So it's why it's important for us to stick together.
As for what November 11th means to Hurley, he says it's a confusing day for him. Derek Haggett, CTV News, Moncton.
Canadians now have access to a public listing of active cancer trials across the country. It's a resource that has long existed in the United States and Europe. The Canadian Cancer Society announced the launch of the new website called Cancer Trials Canada Monday. The site is entirely bilingual and was created to make an academic and pharmaceutical-led trials more accessible to patients. The newly announced website also provides resources to educate the public about how clinical trials operate and the potential risks and benefits involved. You can find out more by visiting cancer.ca. A troubling study out of the U.S. suggests pregnant women face a greater risk of homicide, especially when guns are in the picture. According to the study in JAMA Network Open, mothers-to-be were 37% more likely to be killed by a firearm than non-expectant women. Researchers looked at violent death reporting database and analyzed all those involving women of childbearing age who died of homicide across 37 states between 2018 and 2021. It found every 1% increase in firearm ownership was associated with an 8% increase in firearm homicide rates involving pregnant women. The study says domestic violence, firearm prohibitions, and safe storage laws might help keep more women safe. As we honor the men and women who serve our country tonight, there's acknowledgement of the physical and mental tolls military service can take. Researchers are working to understand the impacts on the brain to better protect and treat service members and veterans. Now, a high-profile Canadian is enlisting to help. CTV's Natalie Johnson explains.
It's about 5K.
Down on the boardwalk by his East End home, Aaron O'Toole still maintains a quick pace in life after politics.
When I run, I generally go to the volleyball courts.
The former federal Conservative leader harnesses physical activity to support brain health, grateful that he never suffered a brain injury during his years of service in the military.
Our veterans serve, and many of them come back with injuries, both physical, mental, some aren't visible. And traumatic brain injury is something that we're really starting to understand.
Now, in this time of remembrance, O'Toole is pledging to donate his brain when he dies to Project Enlist. Research conducted by the Concussion Legacy Foundation to better understand the impact of military service on the brain.
You first think of the roadside bomb and, the light armored vehicle and the concussion, but it doesn't have to be that dramatic.
It's this revelation that it's not just concussions, it's the cumulative non-concussive impacts over time that people sustain during the course of their service that can end up leading to mental health issues, neurodegenerative disease, CTE.
Even though O'Toole didn't suffer head trauma during his time in the military, his brain can serve as a baseline or control for the testing. So far, more than 500 veterans have pledged to donate their brains for research.
I think we need to make sure we have the best protection, headgear and other things for our men and women in uniform, and we have to find treatment methods to reduce injury and treat it early so that there can be a quality of life.
Quality of life that is so critical year-round, well after Canadians take off their puppies when the Remembrance Day ceremony ends.
I hope this donation will take place a long time in the future, but I want to be part of something that is so positive.
Arming the Canadian military with research that will help to better educate and equip, another step forward in supporting those who serve. Natalie Johnson, CTV News.
Medical Watch is brought to you by Manukin Koster Denture Clinic.
A quiet riot, how an upcoming concert aims to be friendlier for your ears.
Is it hard?
Spotlight sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting Serena Ryder, the Merry Myths Tour.
An upcoming concert here in Winnipeg is tailored to families and to those who don't want to stay up too late.
All that noise makes it hard to hear.
A sensory-friendly show is coming to the West End Cultural Centre this Sunday. Fans of folk harmonies can catch the music cocoon with quieter music levels, soft lighting, and even toys. The venue will also have a designated room for destimulation and feeding infants. Performers include Isla Barker and Two Crows for Comfort. Showtime is at 1:30 p.m. Tickets are available on the West End Cultural Centre's website. It's almost that time of year again for a Bill-ation?
Them liked Christmas a lot.
Wrong-o.
The Grinch!
I must stop this Christmas from coming.
Well, hopefully this makes more sense after you saw the video than what I just said. Anywho, see what I did there? Universal Pictures shared a 25th anniversary trailer for How the Grinch Stole Christmas. It's making a return to the big screen for one day only. On December 12th, you can watch Jim Carrey in his iconic role at the movie theater. Tickets are on sale now. While staying in the #1 spot is probably what a showgirl would want. Taylor Swift's latest album, The Life of a Showgirl, is #1 on the Billboard 200 for a 5th straight week. The Life of a Showgirl is only the second album in 2025 to spend its first 5 weeks at #1 following Morgan Wallen's I'm the Problem. There's more to come for Swifties. Oh yes, the End of an Era docuseries begins streaming in a month. Your primetime lineup starts at 7 with E-Talk and The Big Bang Theory. MasterChef Canada is on at 8, and at 9, catch The Traitors Canada. And The Pit wraps things up at 10. It's all right here tonight on CTV.
The CTV Primetime lineup is brought to you by Strictly Amish, exclusively in Arbor, Manitoba.
Paying their respects. Still ahead, we take you back to some of the many Remembrance Day events held across Winnipeg today.
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by S&T Spa Salon.
I'm Sandy Ronaldo. Tonight, untangling an online web of sexual predators.
Ain't no pill gonna cure this ill. Behind bars is gonna stop it.
How a W5 investigation led to an arrest overseas. Later on CTV National News with Omar Sachedina.
Just a few clouds out there, but the clouds really clearing out. 1 degree, winds out of the west-northwest at 19 kilometers an hour. Lighter winds now, but they are expected still to gust tonight. On the way down to -1, staying fairly clear. Sunny Wednesday, 6 degrees. Sunshine Thursday again, we'll go to 6. 10 on Friday, a little cloudier in the afternoon, but 10 in the middle of November. We'll take it. Santa Claus Parade Day Saturday, a high of 4, mix of sun and cloud. Grey Cup Sunday, sunny with a high of -2.
Before we go tonight, we're going to leave you with another look at some of the many Remembrance Day events that took place in our city earlier today. Good night.
Generations of brave Canadians have served in uniform to help defend peace and freedom.
We gather today to commemorate the incredible bravery and strength of those who came before us, falling in service, those who have served and those who continue to serve in their wake.
Today, I can proudly say I am a Canadian. Nia kakanata utamaga.
Remember when the trumpets blew for the ones who stood and fought for you.